more video responsing, I believe. What the hell happened to my video? Dentist guy. Old time, long time no see kind of thing, whatever. So, we've got this video, Hope for Humanity, and he's a pleasant enough sort, so we'll make a response. I intended to do the Luddite Returns video, but I'm just doing these other videos because they showed up. So we'll see how it goes. We'll just use up the 40 minutes on here, and then we'll make another video if we got more to go. So whatever, this is just what it is. I'm just trying to make an honest effort to respond. And, to do that correctly, you do have to take some time to explain your position.
This is a video on Hope for Humanity. It's kind of an antinatalist counter-argument. A list of reasons for why I think humanity has hope and should continue.
Yeah, well, you don't really get to the should continue part. I guess it's probably obvious for you, like you just say, there's some need for us to keep on making human beings so they can go through this ritual, sort of. It's sort of just a ritual. Mumbo jumbo. Oh, yeah, it's sort of like a whacking off. Yeah. We just do our little game to get our little gratification, and then gracefully, hopefully, say goodbye till next time. See you soon. That could be the end state. Like, he's going to talk about technology and stuff, and it could be like Big Brother-esque. You're the Borg, and you live your life through phases of being a drone of different kinds, almost like a colony of ants or bees or something. And let's just say in a benign way, though, that you're programmed to enjoy every phase of your existence, so you enjoy your servitude and blah, blah, blah. And at the end, when you get old and decrepit, and if you've survived all these levels of service, they could just say, well, thank you very much for your contribution to the Borg, and you could gracefully slide away, and they show you nice three-dimensional images of flowers or something. And see you soon could be the end remark, in the sense that, something right next door, in one room you fade away, and in the other room you arrive on Earth. Hello? Hi, Gary, you're back. Yeah, did you, was it okay transition? Well, yeah, here we are. Now, you're going to go through a little bit of, indoctrination period through here, and we're going to explain to you how we do things here, and you'll find it very pleasant and wonderful, and blah, blah, and you just get slid right back into the circle of life Borgoshery. And, right, fine, so you think that goes somewhere. You think that wheel, that circle, rolls somewhere. I say it's a silly thing to maintain. And especially in the real context, not this fantasy world you'd like to paint of hope, but in the real world where that hope is right next door to huge danger. Really preposterously monstrous danger of leaving a ton of suffering on the table. And so that's what you're playing with. It's not just some sort of free ride where you can just play with it and tweak it and experiment on it and it never goes ouch. This isn't a harmless piece of plastic you're experimenting on. This is a harmable pile of sentience that you're experimenting with. And so I think you have to say a little bit more about why you think it needs to keep going.
In its current state or in its past state, present and future state. I'll briefly list the reasons why I'm optimistic and then go into some detail. Number one, that genetic engineering going forward offers possibility for enhanced intelligence, but also possibility for modifying perceptions, not just in humans, but in animals as well.
Yeah, I just don't know how you get to do that kind of stuff without getting into this whole eugenics thing and racial things and cultural things. You're going to program people, you're going to, and this idea of intelligence, a lot of intelligent people are preposterous assholes. So, if there was a huge correlation between decency and intelligence, I see a lot of intelligent people using a lot of bizarre and advanced rhetoric to deny the existence of suffering. I mean, really stupid stuff. And so you're going to tell me that intelligence innately is a value? I mean, I would tend to want to agree if the intelligence isn't possessed by the body, the ape. So as long as there's a connection between the ape psychology and ownership of the intelligence, well, then intelligence is sort of just a weapon. It's just a, it's a nail gun you could use as a gun. You get it? It could be a really great tool, but in the hands of an ape, it's not a good tool.
If the totality of experience is subjective through the way the brain interprets and relates to experience, that's modifiable.
All right. So then we just argue about who gets to do the modifications. If you get to do it, then people see some sort of purpose in doing their little droney life thing. And if I get to modify it, I make everybody perfectly comfortable with the idea of having one big, huge orgy and then just saying the hell with just don't have kids. No point in making more of this stuff. Let's just get through our existence and let's not pretend that we were accomplishing something except satisfying a negative state created in us, and we don't have any need to give our addiction to somebody else. I mean, let's make the best of our heroin addiction, but let's not spread it to something else. What sense would there be to that, right? So I could program people to be as comfortable as I am with the prospect of us being as irrelevant as Venetians and Martians and Moonikins and Mercuryites. I say we're just as irrelevant as all those things. We're just as useless. They don't exist. None of them are getting harmed. There's no jeopardy they're in. So why don't we just join them in the perfection of being harmless?
Number two, why I'm optimistic, there are great leaps and advancements in the field of communications. The internet is just one example. It's foreseeable that our brains will connect for the possibility of instant mental communication globally.
Yeah, right. They could just inject the spam directly into our brain. They won't have to dial my phone number or go to my email address or do this or hack my computer. They could just go right straight into my brain with their commercials. Yeah, well, I'm mocking it, but I'm all for this technology stuff. I'm for virtual reality even, but these are all things you got to do so carefully and so precisely to have any hope of doing it ethically, because it opens the door to all this malicious bullshit, and it opens the door to the whole 1984 thing, the whole Borg thing, the whole control thing, the whole exploitation thing. All these doors are opened if you don't do it right. So, this isn't, you're not really making an argument against antinatalism unless you can explain how you can do it right, how you can do it safely. You're just giving us pie in the sky. You're saying I have the perfect energy source and it's all perfect and it gives you everything you need, and you're not dealing with the fact that, wait a minute, this thing could blow up, or this thing could spread radiation, or this thing could vaporize our eyeballs. You're not dealing with any of the real factual dangers of all of these applications of technology, or even you're not even acknowledging that based on present reality, we can see that the track that this technology on isn't a very good track, that these tracks all seem to be going in very negative directions of every bit of media being used as some mechanism of control, the message. And they're just using the substance to, tack the commercials are the value, and the thing it's being tacked to is no longer of any meaning. It's just the vehicle to get the commercial through the hive.
Almost telepathic in a sense. And this will only increase knowledge, especially if concepts could be taught through the transfer of knowledge rather than verbally or written.
Yeah. So again, this knowledge thing, though, is a real catch, okay? Because I'm going to argue to you that the smarter you are, the more you realize it's a silly game. It's tic-tac-toe with blood on it. And there's no point in playing it. And, I mean, all these theoretical concepts of futility become more and more visible, in my opinion, the more knowledgeable you are. So you're arguing not for knowledge. I think you're arguing for something else. Okay, some other kind of, hystemic, perpetual ignorance. But knowledge is understanding how you're gaming, and understanding the game pieces, and understanding the mechanism, understand ultimately the motivations. And once intelligence examines the motivations, they're going to see it's a replicating molecule that's created all of those, and that there is no real value in what we are projecting to see value in. And the only thing that really has value is our harmability, and there's no point in subjecting us to harmability when fail-safe is right there. The fail-safe door has a perfectly functional knob on it, and all you got to do is turn it and open it and walk through it. And knowledge is going to take you there. I don't think you have any hope of making the argument that knowledge takes you to the door of delusion, of silly notion of accomplishment. I think knowledge takes you to the reality that fail-safe is the only rational choice. The rest are irrational, desire-motivated attachment.
Number 3, the continuous brain experience. Currently, we're all individuals. We're born and we have to learn things. We make mistakes and we die, and we only teach through the indirect methods of classrooms and books and experience. But with continuous brain experience, we'll be able to upload and download brain. So not only can the knowledge gained by a person continue on for thousands of years, the combined knowledge of everyone can be put into a central database as well, which would enhance the ability to make.
Yeah, combined knowledge, again, about what? These are all limited subjects of substance or meaning. So we could all learn how to juggle from somebody who learned how to juggle, and we could all learn how to dunk a basketball, and we could all learn how to, I don't know, paint or sing opera or whatever. We could gain instant experience, instant capacity, instant understanding of these different disciplines and skills. But again, in what world are these going to be applied? And why would there be motivation to apply them if one of these knowledge acquisition things is going to be knowledge of psychology and knowledge of how you're being gamed by the molecule? And how are you going to keep people motivated to excel and to do all these things when they understand that it doesn't matter who wins or who loses, it just matters that you're making winners and losers, and that you're making them in nasty proportions, that only a few people get to be kings and queens, and everybody else has to be peasants, and this whole hierarchy thing that we feed on, and we do feed on it. And so you could go back to the colonies of insects that you're attempting to in some ways duplicate. Well, their function is also very dependent on that structure. And you break that hierarchy, you break that structure, and motivation is lost, or the cohesiveness is lost, and the thing will dysfunction. The organism, as a collective, will not succeed without these binding control mechanisms. So, I mean, how can you have this unlimited knowledge in a sphere where you're going to need necessary control? That's not going to work. The slaves are going to know they're slaves.
Better see. The fourth reason I'm optimistic is with artificial intelligence and evolutionary algorithms. Computer programs will be able to figure things out in a way that humans just haven't been able to do to date. What I'm speaking about with evolutionary algorithms are a goal is set, whatever your goal is, such as more pleasure, less pain, and the programs can work at hundreds or thousands or millions of times the speed of normal time, because it's a computer program. You just up the speed, and you have a bunch of interacting parts, and whichever ones succeed in the goal, they get food and continue to live on and reproduce, and the ones that don't succeed die off. So it's an
yeah, whatever. I mean, this whole idea that you're going to create some. I mean, I'm not opposed to this as it's even the way people do experiments right now. Trial and error. It's just that trial and error is kind of slow. So if you can create a model, then you can run the model at a much higher speed, but it's just trial and error. And so the trial is by some standard, and so you're saying that you have the standard. You know the standard by which you're going to judge success and failure. So you're going to say, well, this is the right amount of slavery, or this is the right amount of delusionment, this is the right amount of aggressive desire, this is the right amount of ego. These are the right ingredients, and now you're going to apply some standard for, yes, they can have this much dissatisfaction, and this many bad memories, and this much this stuff, and this is the balance we're looking for in the end. This is the ultimate objective, is some sort of long foreplay leading up to, some excellent sexual performance, leading up to some splendid, exhausting climax. Like you're going to perfect the life experience, like you could perfect the sex experience or some other experience. Well, all you can do is you can maximize some efficiencies, you can pull out some gross inefficiencies, get out the worst of it, but this idea that you're really going to be creating something out of a mechanism that's self not motivating, but self-generating, and that you can create some sort of perpetual motion. But again, perpetual motion going where? Rolling in what direction? There's nowhere for it to go. We make the mess, then we clean up the mess. It's a zero-sum game. And you're arguing that if we apply technology perfectly and exquisitely, that maybe we can get to the zero. And I'm arguing that in this environment of high risk, where we could just roll one of these dice and it'll turn up snake eyes and we lose, that is an irresponsible ambition. To get to zero, you're going to risk huge negative numbers? No. Doesn't make any sense.
Evolutionary algorithm. It's just mathematical. You can set the goal to fix a car, you can set the goal to change the substance of molecules by rearranging elements, or substances that you want. You could create a harder steel or a better plastic. All through just when you understand all the variables, you put it into an evolutionary algorithm, run it through the program, and you'll get the outcome.
Understand all the variables. I mean, somebody's got to be able to figure out how that's really not going to work. Okay? I mean, if we understood all the variables now, we have a pretty good functional brain, and we could do the modeling. So, like I said, I'm not opposed to this technological application, but I'm telling you, if you create synthetic intelligence is going to reach the obvious conclusion if you put in fair variables. And unless you cheat somehow, it's going to give you the right answer, and the right answer is going to be go with the fail-safe. Turn the knob on the fail-safe door. That's the right answer. Fail-safe.
And that we're on the cusp of that. The fifth and last reason I'm optimistic is fusion power. I think that we're probably within the next decade going to have fusion power, which means that our potential for developing future
seven-headed fish. Yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, within 10 years, I think it's just really grotesquely optimistic. I mean, to get anything out of it. I mean, maybe we'll get somewhere on the development road where there might be a glimmer of hope. But, I mean, again, we're talking about, containing the sun in a vessel and then being able to generate heat off the sun again. And, yeah, the other advantages, we'll probably be able to do alchemy, so we'll be able to convert, anything into anything atomically. But, yeah, this is going to be this is high energy physics. That's kind of what they call it, high energy physics. And yeah, one little mistake and wow, lots of photons escape. It's really troublesome.
Production of everything will be enhanced, and the detriment to the environment will be reduced. I'm not too concerned with the environment because I'm optimistic that these other technologies will overcome the shortcomings that we have here on Earth. And I'm also...
Yeah, okay, so whatever. So you just fluffed off the energy crisis and the global catastrophe of having a whole bunch of exercised energy, that we have reformed the environment with that energy, and it might take 3 or 4 times as much energy to get the air back in the balloon. I mean, it's really easy popping balloons. You know, burning oil is really easy. A little match, poof, there it goes. So it's really easy to pop the balloon. It's really hard to get the air back in the balloon. That takes more energy. So to fix your environmental problem, you're going to need a lot of energy. And yeah, so yeah, you can hold out for your fission, fusion, blah, blah, blah thing, but that might be more than hope. That might be like where, you know, dope. That might be dope.
That we will be able to farm and make use of the elements throughout space. So once again, the 5 reasons that are genetic engineering, internet enhanced communication, simultaneous brain telepathy, continuous brain experience, the central database of all knowledge and experience, artificial intelligence, evolutionary algorithms, and fusion power. And with these combined...
Yeah, all to what? To resurrect some zombie human thing, some perversion of what it is to be alive into a form, and to have it squirm around like some sort of Venetian or something. Something I don't think we need now, and I certainly wouldn't spend a whole bunch of technology to make one. Something that's not really a human, and something I can't rationally come up with any reason whatsoever to press the start button on.
And we can potentially reach our goal of achieving good, and good being defined as a better experience for everything. So that the good...
Well, whatever. I mean, again, that's not good enough necessarily. A better experience for everything, at what risk for failure, and is, you know, like I said, a better experience for everyone. I mean, what are you talking about? 1% better? How many percentage points better? I say, unless you get all the way to the perfect, you've failed. Because it is a zero-sum game. If you don't get to the 0, you're in the red numbers, and you have failed.
Outweighs the bad. And that's why I'm optimistic.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying it's a little silly, so that's all I got to say to that. I mean, it's a little bit immature. And it's philosophically premised by a bunch of immature assumptions and presumptions and hopes that they're just not really cogent or connected to what we know, looking at where we've been and where we're heading. This 90-degree angle turn doesn't seem very realistic, especially at the speed we're traveling. No, but good luck with that stuff. Whatever, I don't know what to say. I don't think this is reasonable philosophy. Okay. Alright, I'm a little tired, so maybe I'll do Luddite as a separate video. yeah.